Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vuolo share how marriage betrayal made them stronger. Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vuolo, once considered one of the most picture-perfect couples from the Duggar family spotlight, are now opening up about one of the most difficult chapters in their marriage. The couple, known for their honesty and vulnerability with fans, recently revealed how a painful experience of what they call a betrayal nearly tore them apart, yet ultimately made them stronger than ever. This revelation has sparked widespread discussion among followers of the Counting On family, not only because of the seriousness of the issue, but also because it sheds rare light on the struggles even seemingly ideal couples face. While many assumed Jinger and Jeremy were living a flawless love story, the truth is that their journey has included trials that tested the very foundation of their relationship. In their own words, the betrayal was a wake-up call that forced them to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves, their expectations, and the reality of married life. And as they now reflect, it was also the very thing that deepened their love, cemented their trust, and reshaped how they view each other. The shocking confession. For years, Jinger and Jeremy projected an image of happiness that many admired. But behind closed doors, cracks had begun to form. According to their account, a betrayal occurred that blindsided Jinger and shook her confidence in her husband and in their marriage. Though they have not revealed every detail, out of respect for their privacy and to protect their family, they made it clear that the betrayal was not the kind of scandalous affair tabloids might expect. Instead, it was described as a breaking of trust, a moment where one partner's actions hurt the other deeply and created a chasm between them. Jinger explained that when she learned the truth, her world seemed to collapse. "I felt like I had been deceived," she admitted. "Everything I thought I knew about our marriage suddenly felt uncertain." Jeremy, on the other hand, acknowledged the pain he had caused. "I knew I had broken her trust. The hardest part was realizing that I had hurt the person I love the most. I had to decide if I was going to be defensive or if I was going to humble myself and fight for our marriage." Facing the storm together. Instead of running from the issue, the couple chose to confront it head-on. It wasn't easy. Jinger confessed that she struggled with anger, disappointment, and even doubt about whether their marriage could recover. "People often think forgiveness is instant," she explained. "But in reality, it's a process. I had to process my emotions, allow myself to grieve, and then decide if I was willing to move forward with Jeremy by my side." Jeremy described this season as the hardest period of our lives. He revealed that he sought counseling and accountability, not only to address the breach of trust, but also to examine the root issues that led to it. "We both had to dig deep and ask tough questions. It wasn't just about the betrayal, it was about the underlying weaknesses in our marriage that made us vulnerable to it." Leaning on faith. Both Jinger and Jeremy emphasized that their Christian faith played a pivotal role in navigating the pain. The couple said that while they leaned on each other, they ultimately leaned hardest on God. "Without faith, I don't think we would have made it through," Jeremy admitted. "Our faith reminded us that grace is possible, healing is possible, and restoration is possible." Jinger echoed that sentiment, explaining that prayer and scripture gave her the strength to move past resentment. "There were nights I didn't want to talk, nights I cried myself to sleep. But I knew I could cry out to God, and He was listening. That gave me hope when I felt hopeless." Rebuilding trust. The biggest hurdle in their recovery was rebuilding trust. Trust, once broken, can take years to fully restore. Jeremy admitted that he had to prove himself again, not through words, but through consistent actions. "I had to be transparent in ways I never was before," he explained. "Whether it was sharing my schedule, opening up about my struggles, or simply showing up when I said I would, I had to make sure Jinger knew she could rely on me." Jinger admitted that learning to trust again was difficult. "There were times I doubted. Times I felt like pulling back. But over time, I saw Jeremy's sincerity. He wasn't just trying to get past this. He was trying to become a better husband." The impact on their family. The couple also acknowledged how the ordeal affected their family life. With two young daughters, Felicity and Evangeline, Jinger and Jeremy had to balance their private struggles with their responsibilities as parents. "There were days we had to put aside our pain to make sure our kids felt loved and secure," Jinger said. But in a way, they also motivated us to fight harder for our marriage. We want our girls to grow up in a home where love, forgiveness, and commitment are real. Jeremy agreed, noting that their children became an inspiration during the healing process. Every time I looked at my daughters, I knew I couldn't give up. I had to fight for Jinger, for them, and for the family we're building together. How the experience made them stronger. While many couples might have crumbled under the weight of betrayal, Jinger and Jeremy insist that the experience ultimately made them stronger. Jinger explained, "I never wanted this to be part of our story. But now that it is, I see how it's changed us for the better. We communicate more openly. We don't take each other for granted. And we've built a level of honesty we didn't have before." Jeremy added, "It's like a fire. It can destroy or refine. In our case, it refined us. We came out on the other side more in love, more committed, and more aware of what it takes to keep a marriage strong." Lessons for other couples. The couple has been candid in sharing their journey, not just for themselves, but in hopes that others might learn from their experience. They emphasized several lessons they believe all couples can take away. 1. Don't ignore problems. Small cracks can turn into major breaks if left unaddressed. Jinger and Jeremy admitted that some of the issues leading up to the betrayal had been ignored for too long. 2. Honesty is essential. Even when it's hard, being truthful prevents deeper wounds down the road. 3. Forgiveness is a process. Healing doesn't happen overnight. Both partners must be patient and willing to walk the journey together. 4. Accountability matters. Jeremy credited having mentors and counseling for keeping him on track. 5. Faith can be an anchor. For them, their belief in God was not just a comfort, but a lifeline that gave them strength to keep going. Moving forward. Today, Jinger and Jeremy say their marriage is stronger than ever. They continue to share updates with fans, not to paint a perfect picture, but to remind others that real love requires work. "We don't want people to think we've figured it all out," Jinger said. "We're still learning every day. But we know that as long as we keep choosing each other, we'll be okay." Jeremy concluded, "Betrayal could have been the end of our story. Instead, it became the turning point. And for that, we're grateful." The bigger picture. For years, fans have followed the ups and downs of the Duggar family, often focusing on scandals, controversies, and dramatic headlines.